Alrighty, what we have here is a shockingly nice solar LED light string set. This is warm white, 118 feet, nice PET covered solar panel, and a generous solar panel at that. It will easily charge that battery in a single day, even in the less than ideal solar climates. It comes with a stake with an adjustable head so that you can angle it to give it optimal angle toward the sun. I guess it's also wall mountable. No, I don't see any wall mounts, but it comes with this. Not sure why. Oh, that's wall mountable. Ah, so you can mount this onto a side of your post or something like that. That's actually pretty cool. Very nice touch. So this goes into here. If you don't want to wall mount it, you can stake mount it like that. And then this whole thing then slides into here like this. There you go. Okay. Put that aside. On, off, and mode. We'll get to that in a moment because this also has an infrared receiver. It has a remote control. So you can turn it on. How cool is that? The cool thing is you have modes. You can dim them. Actually, that's going through the different modes. Okay. So there's your different modes. Different flashing rates, twinkle rates. I personally like the breathing one. That one there is pretty cool. But in general, you have your different modes. Let's get back to steady on. Actually, I think that goes one way. That's interesting. I've never seen one do that before. That's cool. Okay. So instead of cycling around, it goes one end and stops and comes the other way and stops, which means it's very easy for you to get to different modes if you know how many clicks you need. You can also change brightness. So here's 100%. Here's 25%. 50%. Back to 100%. You also have timer modes. So time off means it stays on all night. But you can also tell it to only run for 3, 5, or 8 hours. So if you hit 8, it'll run for 8 hours after the sun goes down. Very cool. The dimness, so for example, setting it for 25% and say 3 hours is going to give you the ability to run this every night in some place like Pennsylvania or up north where you don't get as much sun. And so you run out of power every day. Well, dim the brightness and control how many hours it runs, and you increase the chance of you being able to get the enjoyment out of every single night. You might even be able to go 25% 5 hours and get a decent run every single night. That's actually a really cool feature. You can also hard turn it off by pressing the off button, and now the remote doesn't do anything. So you have to actually turn it on by here first, then you can turn it on by the remote. Let's get it back to 100% and back to time off, since that's what I will be using. Now, what are all these screws? Of course, I gotta take it apart. I gotta see what's inside. It says it's an 18650 3.7 volt 1200 milliamp cell, and they are not lying. Here is the inside. That is your outer case. Infrared, your 2 switches, grommet going outside, 18650 cell. The only disappointing thing is that they have a battery holder here. It's an actual legit battery holder, but instead of soldering these wires to clips on the end so that you can just insert this 18650, they soldered directly to the 18650. Not bad. You still have plenty of length for you to be able to mess with. Here's the cool part. This is all empty space. You can upgrade this. That's a pretty generous solar panel. It can charge more than this one battery, especially if you live in an area with good light. You could put 2, 3, even 4 18650 cells in here. No problem. So, hey, straight up, put 2. Put 2 2000 milliamp cells in here, and you now have a 4000 milliamp capacity. If you get enough sunlight to charge that, that'll run several nights. That's pretty cool. And because it uses an 18650 cell that is removable, with enough length for you to be able to desolder the connections, and because it uses a nice quality PET covered solar panel, not a epoxy resin encapsulated solar panel, this has longevity. You can upgrade it, you can fix it, you can hack it, you can replace the battery when it dies. I mean, this battery is going to die in 2 to 5 years. You'll probably get about 3 good solid years out of it before you start noticing issues, maybe 4. But in 4 or 5 years, this battery's going to go. It's just the nature of batteries. Well, you can replace the battery on this. You pop out the 8 screws, the back pops off, and you can desolder and resolder in a new battery. put a bigger battery in it, maybe put a lithium iron phosphate battery in here to get longer lifespan overall. That might be possible. I might have to try that. I'm ordering another one. Now, the nature of these is that it is the copper wires with the little blob LEDs every now and then on the copper wire. 300 LEDs over 118 feet, so that's roughly 3.5 inches per LED. What is that? Was that 100 millimeters per LED roughly? Between the spacing between them. Now, this is a pro and con. The pro of the copper is it's beautiful, it's easy to manipulate, and it's stiff. The con of copper is it's delicate. You bend it too much, you break it. So you do want to make sure wherever you mount this isn't on something that's moving or wiggling, and it's going to torque and tweak these wires, because otherwise you'll eventually fatigue break them. You don't want people kicking it. You don't want people tripping on this. They will destroy it. You don't want pets jumping over this and catching onto it. They will destroy it. So with that beautiful nature of that super thin copper wire build, you also get the delicate nature of that as well. So keep that in mind. If it's going to be in a rougher environment, you may want to get one that has more standard wire type things. Although most of these that have wire, they're not very strong anyway. They're usually really thin. At least this, you get some pretty generous copper connected between them. Overall, definitely a recommend. This is nice. It's a nice setup. It's a beautiful solar panel. You have multiple mounting options. It uses an actual 18650. Nothing is glued together. You can take it apart. You can replace it. You can upgrade it. You can hack it. You can fix it. This is nice. I like this. I'm going to get use out of these.